Hello everybody, I hope you're doing okay today. Um, I apologize as I posted in the community tab of my channel. I'm not going to be able to put together the big cane because all the translucent that I had around the house is the oldish kind. I mean, a year or more. That's not that it's not usable, it's very usable, only that it takes a long time to condition. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I started Friday afternoon to condition, but it can only be done in smaller batches. You cannot do a big batch at a time. And my hands are not very helpful. And even with a never need, it still needs to be brought to a good soft. And by the time I was approximately done, I think I'm gonna still do a little condition, a little bit more of it. My hands were killing me, and I realized that I would not be able to put together and reduce a cane. So we're gonna do that next week. But in the meantime, I still said that you deserve something pretty, especially because I had to pass on last Sunday. And that situation is almost completely gone. I mean, I don't have problems sitting on the chair for an hour anymore, so that is good. Now let me say hi. Hi Ilyanka, hi Elaine, thank you for making it. Hi Carlene, hi Sharon, hi Colleen, hi Cindy. So what we are going to do is, and I'm for people who are not a long time follower of my channel, subscriber of my channel, and have missed some of the stuff, I'm going to repeat. So if you're a long time subscriber of my channel, you've heard this before, but if you're not a long time subscriber, I'm gonna repeat all this stuff for you and show you what the whole thing is about. So what I'm going to do is make some Skinner blend with metallic clays. Hi Kim. What I need to tell you is that I'm going to show it in Premo, excuse me, in Premo, just because the effect can be seen immediately in Premo. You don't need to bake and then sand and varnish or buff. And that happens because all mica / pearlescent clays are actually mica powder in translucent. And because Premo's translucent is practically the only translucent in all brands that is translucent even when not baked, because all the other ones, Cernit, Pardo, Fimo, Fimo and Kato, they all, Kato actually, no, it's not opaque, but Kato is not really a good translucent. But Cernit, Pardo, and Fimo, they are opaque, they are white, so, and they don't become translucent until they are baked, so it's impossible to show you the exact effect. While, hi Holly, while if I do it in Premo, I can just put some resin on it and you can see the effect immediately. But what I do recommend to you is to try this, unless you cannot afford to get Cernit and you can still use the Premo, but try to get this, to do this with Cernit metallic, especially because you don't have to fiddle around with making the colors. You already have the colors there. Now, one of the things that I've been saying before is that if you do not have a specific color of translucent, going back to how I said that the translucent the pearlescent / metallic clays are, you can just, if you have mica powder, you can just put mica powder in translucent, but you'll have to be very careful, and I think I should make a tutorial on that, because you have to do it number one, you'll have to add some clay softener because the mica powder, it's like when you're making a dough, you know, if you put too much flour, it's going to be too hard and too tough and crumbly, and you need to add liquid to make it smooth and elastic. The other thing is the way that you fold the clay, because if you just put some mica powder and then you fold the clay like this, the moment you go with your roller over it, that mica powder is going to spout out and you're going to get your whole working area filled with mica powder. So I think I should do that. But anyway, what I'm going to use here is, this is the graphite, this is the bronze from Premo. Then I'm gonna use a little bit of copper. I'm gonna use the white pearl, and then just a little bit of black, and just to make some extra colors, some cadmium yellow and some cadmium, no, this is pomegranate, actually it's not cadmium. The other thing that I'm going to use, and I've shown you this before and I spoke about it before, is one of these big, just looks like a big screw, it's actually a rod. And you can get this at a home improvement store. I got mine from Lowe's, and the longer ones are more expensive. The thicker and the longer they are, the more expensive they are. But for this specific one, I paid like $4 something. And it is a good, I think it's like 12 inches. I think. Yeah, it's pretty much 12 inches. And it's very sturdy, and being a metal, it will not bend it, and it will leave pretty good prints on clay. And you can do not just, I mean, I have a Valentine's Day with a heart where I used it for a mica shift, but you have, give me just a second here. You can obviously do the lines, yeah. And then you can do either completely perpendicular. I usually prefer to go on a diagonal and do this little thing. So, not to do it much, not to go much longer, and there's a reason why I'm doing it, and we are going to do several different patterns as experiments. Come on, wife, get out of the pouch. Alright. So, let's go ahead and grab these ones. I'm not going to even cut them because I tried and made them pretty much squarish like this. I'm going to grab me 2 of these, and on one of them I'm going to put half of this, then the other half of this here, but plot surprise, I'm going to, this is pretty much 1/3 if you're using, oh come on, if you're using the 1.5 inch square cutter, it would be kind of like 1/3 of it. And I'm going to just add it here. And this will be my first Skinner blend. And then For the second Skinner blend, actually I'm gonna use the on the yellow at least. For the second Skinner blend, I'm going to use the bronze. I'm going to use, sorry, the white, and the thing is here that I'm not going to go all the way in the middle. I'm going to go like, if you divide this by 3, I'm going to place this here, and the same for the copper. I'm going to place it here, and then I'm going to grab half of this, actually 1/3. So divide this in 3, and I'm going to grab 1/3 and place it here. I might add some more later. And then what I'm going to do with the pomegranate, I'm going to add, this is pretty much half. This is pretty much half of part, and I'm going to place it here. So these will be my Skinner blends, and we are going to do 2 combinations with them. And as I said, it's going to be something that's going to be mica shift, but it's going to have an element of stamped moku megane. So, you know my crazy way of making Skinner blends. I'm going to cut this and turn it here. And cut this in half. And then place it like this here, so I have it nice and even. And then I'm going to go with the roller over it like this, so it can go through the machine properly. And then I'm going to fan, because we are going to need it in the end. You'll see we are going to need it fairly narrow, so it can be used in just one earring or just one pendant. You don't want it to be too stretched out. So I got this, and I'm going to go with it through the machine until I get to a thin setting. Just to be able to hasten it. In case you haven't watched this before, if you want to kind of hurry up your Skinner blend, always use the roll, because think about this: when you do the fold to create the Skinner blend, you have the 2 pieces of clay, the 2 sides of the clay folded one on top of the other. When you do a roll, you have like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 just one on top of the other, so the mixing will happen much faster. And not only that, but you can keep it more on the narrower side. And I'm going to do this until I get to a close to done blending. thing you have to be very careful with is at the very ends. You see how it has the tendency to go like this. So what you'll have to do is to make sure that you bring them back in. Otherwise your colors will go towards the edge too much. Hi Karen. Yeah, I know exactly how that is. And actually I think last week, and the thing where the whole, I lost a day. But I know, and it's like, I remember when I was a kid, it was like the summer vacation would last forever, and so did school. Now I'm like, where did January go? It's like you wake up and poof, a month is gone by the time you go back to bed. So remember, try to keep it fairly together. So you can keep it narrow. And being a more complicated Skinner blend with various degrees of intensity, it might go a little bit slower, but I know that this is this is an older tutorial, but it still has all the explanations and ideas and how to play with it. This is my old Skinner blend tutorial, if you haven't watched it, and it's like 5 years old, and it's from the time I didn't have good equipment. And not only that, but I think I didn't even have the proper software. I mean, I could only use my first, I think my first year or so, at least first 6 months on the channel, I didn't have the means to purchase professional video editing software, so I was using the good old movie maker. And you cannot do high quality HD videos in Movie Maker, unfortunately. I keep saying maybe I should redo some of those subjects now that I have better equipment, but so you can see it's getting there. Might not look like it, but I assure you it is getting there. One thing I wanted to tell you, I read, and I got very saddened. I read about President Carter, and I got quite saddened. That was a life well spent, and such a wonderful, 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 wonderful human being. Now let me grab back my camera, because I need my camera to see what's going on. So careful, because you don't want the gradient to be too spread out. So you have to be careful when you roll, because you have this streak right in the middle. keep it right in the middle. And I think now I'm going to start just folding and keeping it on the narrow, because you also need to create the mica sheen. So you want all the mica particles to be flat like this. As I explained before, the whole mica shift effect happens because you have the minuscule particles of mica, and you know mica is a... Hi Mona. Mica, it looks like a flake. So when you keep rolling through the machine the pearlescent / metallic clay, all the mica particles get aligned like this, and they are shiny. But when you start doing an impression, you know, like with a stamp and stuff, yeah, I said Mona, then some of the mica particles will turn on the side, and when they turn on the side, they're going to be darker, so you're gonna have some stuff like this. So in order to obtain the mica shift, you need all your mica particles to be aligned straight, to be shiny. Your clay has to be shiny and with no folding lines. Yeah, I mean, I remember when he had just had, I forgot what, broke his hip or something, and a day or two after, he was up raising houses for the homeless. And I'm going to do something here because I don't want to have this. I keep having this little thing coming out, and I don't like it. And again, keep it narrow, keep it narrow. Let's see what I was talking about, folding lines. These are folding lines. Hold on, let me grab my round. Cutter, because I'm going to use the round cutter, so it needs to be a little bit wider. Yes, this should do it. Okay, so I got the first one done. Let's work on the other one, and I'm going to do the same thing. So, going to just go a little bit faster with it, because I already did the explanations with the first one. That's okay. I'm going to try keep an eye on the chat. I guess I kind of thought something might happen. That's why I put the subscribers 20-minute subscriber thing up. And then fan. Hi, Darla. That's okay. I had a rough thing too for some reason. So I went to bed like close to 10 last night, and for some reason I woke up at 3 a.m. and I wasn't able to fall asleep again. So I was kind of feeling like a zombie. But then around 8 o'clock, I narcolepsied for an hour and a half on the couch. So that helped perk me up. That and the half a pot of coffee. So let's hurry it up a bit, huh? Yeah, I got some messages asking me why I only do clay. In my mind, like I also did some resin, but why I don't do other stuff, other art stuff? I don't know. Maybe I might. Maybe I should. I don't know how much interest it would be. It's generally people come on a channel because of the niche, because they are looking for exactly what that channel is showing. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, and I understand. Like somebody who follows a channel for clay will kind of be put off if that channel starts showing, I don't know, felting. On the other hand, there's a lot of the crafters that are multi-crafters. So yes, this is, you can only find it at Hobby Lobby. And you, unfortunately, you cannot purchase it online. You can only buy it in store. But for me, it is the best because, number one, I have problems with the thicker ones. I have thicker ones. With the ones like this. They're a little bit too big and tiring for my hands. And it's very sturdy. And also this helps me a lot when it's about, you know, rounding up edges. Like when I have a piece, I don't need anything else. I just go with this and I just do this. You know, going against the, just all I have is to prop the roller against, and I have a nice rounded edge. So I think it's a matter that which store where with Hobby Lobby, you know. I haven't ever seen them not being in stock at my regional, local Hobby Lobby, but then also I haven't been to Hobby Lobby since the pandemic started, so they might have run out. Yeah, it was like $7.98 when I got it, something like that. So you want to go like this several times. Oh, they do? Well, can you even find it online? Because it didn't used to be online. And that, let me check. Let me put you on. Okay, so if I go here and I do a roller, because for me it wasn't even showing online. There you go, $8.99. So it got up by $1. So can I add it to cart? Yep. As before you weren't able to. Let me remove it. And if they started being so nice about it, let's look for that. I know it's a very, so no. I know it took a while to find it. It's not really a bangle, it's more of a cufflink. See, blank cuff bracelet, 3/4 of an inch. So this can be used for. So this one can also be added. They, I guess with the pandemic now, they got wider. They had to come back to the up to with the times. Okay. Oh, cuff. But I don't have it. I'll have to search for it because I know that it took me a while to even find it. This, because everybody's asking me about this. Hold on. Remember, I have quite a bit of tutorials with this, but it was only purchasable. Oh no, this was at Michael's. Never mind, this was at Michael's. I'd have to search Michael's and see if they do. Yeah, I'm telling you, before it wasn't even showing as an online option, but then I haven't been on the Hobby Lobby thing for quite a while. Okay, now I can start folding it. Got all distorted again. And don't forget to keep it narrow. This is just fine. Now, Hello, keep it real. I thought I put my t-shirt backwards. Okay, so what I'm going to do, number one, I'm going to have a regular. This will be the regular without the Mokumegane effect. And there's going to be, and because it's going to be a double, I'm going to get it a little bit smaller. This is for the Mokumegane effect. This is for the Mokumegane effect with this. And again, because this is for the Mokumegane. So you see I put the small ones here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to first get this as thin as I can. Okay. And then I'm going to have this on it. This can be used for other stuff. And then get it through the machine first on the thickest and then the next one. Hi Kanchana. I went on the thicker setting and then one setting lower. Now with this one, the same thing. I'm going to get this on the thinnest possible. This can go away. And try to thin it out a little bit more. It doesn't really matter what you're using here, just go ahead and use it. And we're gonna do something with those as well, of course. Make sure you don't have air bubbles caught underneath here, and again go on the thickest and then on the next one. Okay, so I'm going to treat them like this. Okay, so they are going to be this way. And I'm not going to go very deep, because if I go very deep I'm gonna have a very, very thin. And with this you have to be very careful because it's metal. It's going to imprint much faster and deeper than a regular thing. So there we go. Hi Sandra. Then the same thing for these ones. Of course you can use other different things, not necessarily these ones. But okay, now when it comes to the shaving, again, if you aren't aware of these, this is what I find. Hi Karen. This is what I find to be the best blades for doing mica shift and shaving and stuff like that, because they are very flexible, very thin, and very sharp. And you can find them at PolyClay. They come, actually, they're under $5. You get one of these that's like 8 inches, and a 4-inch one that's also very thin, very flexible, and very sharp. That's perfect for slicing canes. And they come together for, I think it's $4.75. But anyway, one of the things that I want to call your attention to, well, if you keep your blades in a something, you know, that you just dump your blades standing up like that, like you would pens, right, like a pen holder. Be very careful, because they might get dented. And when they get dented, it's pretty bad, because they might leave. I'm going to still use these even if they are dented. I do have new ones that I'm using for pieces, but for the purposes of a tutorial I can use this, and especially it might show you it leaves a streak, but just simply by banging against another blade it can get messed up. And even if it is minuscule, let's go with focusing so you can see it is enough. Let me find the dent. Okay, this might not be the dented one. This might, because I know I have one that's in good shape and one that's dented. What the heck is that dent? There you go, there's a dent here, right here. Yes, they come in cases, and it's better to keep it in a case. That's why I'm not removing my small ones from the case. There is a dent here, right here. Right here is a dent, and the smaller one underneath. I mean, as I said, they are very tiny, but they can do a lot of damage on your shaving if you're doing mica shift. Let me zoom a little. Also, as usual, I'm going to use some Armor All. To wipe the blade, oops, not this blade, to wipe the blade and prevent it from getting sticky. Now the best, if you get these from PolyClay, they come in cases like this. Okay, but it's a longer case. It's a case good for this one. And you can also, I've always kept the protector from, you know, when you get the Damaco blade, I think also it's Hobby Lobby or Michael's. You get the, or even the Sculpey one, I think, has a protective shield. But alrighty, so And I'll show you what to do with all what's left over. Simple chop and when you do Skinner blends, you'll always have some bleeding through of colors, because you know they're not exactly perfectly one on top of the other, so you'll get this beautiful effect. Going to take this off, and I'm going to burnish all of them at the end. Okay, now let's go with this one. Okay, I need to go a little bit deeper on those sides. But it's okay if you don't have it even. It's going to create an extra effect that's is going to thank you, Silver. And you can see you get a kind of sort of psychedelic effect. You can use this with bright neon colors if you want to create more effects like this. It can even create an aurora borealis type of effect. Okay, so let's get this off. I put it backwards on this. Okay, now in order to keep, if there are people who are new and haven't seen me advising on how to keep the blade straight. I know that some clayers bend the blade, but I found that bending the blade doesn't give you, unless you're trying to obtain some type of effect, doesn't give you the accuracy to go even all over the place. So what I do, and because the blade is not sharp enough to, in this position, to cut your thumbnails, I place the blade kind of like you see there's a little distance, and then where's my, I'm trying to explain here. So I'm going to hold the distance using my thumb to keep the same distance, and then I just slide down with my thumb at the same distance. So that's what I do to keep it even. I mean, this is what works for me. If you have tried the bending blade style and it works for you better, then just go ahead and use that. This is too wide for me to go perfectly even. And see how beautifully the underneath starts coming out. Just keep shaving a little thin layer at a time. Let's give it some attention on the bottom here as well. I did the gouge. I did the gouging. Bad gouging. Yeah, and it's not hard to practice. You can practice on mud clay, you know. And if you want to create different directions, you can actually shave from the side, and you're going to get more oblique linear. It probably dinged on something, Darla, because that's how I got all mine. Dinged up. I still want something more here. Now, see here, I am going to bend the blade because I want it directed specifically in this area. I don't want to go anywhere else. And there we go. And maybe a little bit here. Now this is too straight of a cut. I'm going to go back on there and do it a little more effaced. And there we go. So I am pretty happy with this. So now I'm going to cut them and then resin them, and you can see how it is. So first it needs burnishing. Wrong one. Why are you holding your breath? That's hilarious. Now remember, I'm going to use the resin because it shows instant, like if it were sanded and buffed. But Remember that no matter what you do, whenever you are burnishing and evening up this, you are going to still turn some of the mica particles flat. So it's always a good idea to sand very finely, even if you use just a 600 or an 800 and then go higher. But if you remove the topmost thin layer of, where's my acrylic, of clay, you're going to reach the area that wasn't touched. What did I do with my acrylic? There it is. That wasn't touched and wasn't turned. So what you want to do first is press, and then you can rotate. And once again, if you weren't aware, it's you can burnish with printing paper. The thing is that printing paper is not shiny enough, number one, and number two, it's opaque, so it won't allow you to see where you still have to work on it, because everything that's light colored here means the clay is not in contact with the wax paper. So you need to burnish some more in that area. See the difference, how here it started, the whitish started disappearing. And you notice I'm doing burnishing motions, I'm not rolling the roller. I'm trying to minimize the amount of mica particles that will get flattened out, because when you roll, it's going to get flattened out more than if you just do the rubbing. Hey. I think I need the camera stabilization here. Okay, and I like the red spot. I was watching a documentary about the solar system, and this reminds me of Jupiter. So let's call these planets. So this is going to be Jupiter, because it's got the red spot. Yeah. We are going to pretend that it's through a grid. This is Jupiter, and hold on, which was, this is going to be Venus. Venus is much redder than Mars, but because it's farther away and kind of against the sun, they didn't realize that until they got close enough. So go ahead first and burnish. I'll see all these white areas. That's when the clay is not in contact with the paper. And always put the shiny side of the wax paper towards the clay. Also, if you roll the roller, oh please, if you roll the roller, you risk to do a dip, while if you do this, that's not gonna happen because you use these circular motions. And remove it from time to time just to give it actually, let me zoom out, There might be air trapped in there that doesn't allow your clay to get close to the paper. I didn't completely zoom out, so you can still see details. Okay, so this is going to be Venus. And this is going to be something, just something. I'm gonna call it the Doppler effect. Not much, just me burnishing stuff. Also careful when you do this on metallic clay. Make sure there's no wrinkle in your excuse me, in your paper. Alrighty. And of course you can place little moons here if you so desire. Alrighty, now we can go ahead and resin, and after that I'll show you real quick, if I still can sit, how to make a, let's do Jupiter first. But remember, I use resin on this just to show you the effects faster, because I personally prefer to sand and buff. Look what I did. Oops. I did an oopsie daisy. I wasn't expecting it to start swirling so hard. Ah, damn, I need to show you something I got. It's scary. And I don't think I'm gonna use it on resin. I'm gonna keep it for killing wasp nests when summer comes by. Alrighty. With a screw, Joyce, with a screw, with this. You can get it at Lowe's or at Home Depot. By the way, talking about weirdnesses of Oklahoma accent, Oklahoma dialect, however you want to call it. I'm not sure if I told you before, but I live in the original 1 mile. That's where the city of Midwest City started. At the time where Tinker Air Force Base, so it was during the Second World War, at the time where Tinker Air Force Base was just a depot, and they started building houses for the military personnel who were there, military and civilian DOD. And this is how the city of Midwest City started. Was at the time was a satellite. It wasn't even a suburb of Oklahoma City. It was quite far. In the meantime, the Oklahoma City grew, and it kind of swallowed the former satellites, then suburbs, but these suburbs / satellite cities still have their own administration, their own mayorship, their own PD, their own everything. But where I wanted to go with that, so the main boulevard in Midwest City is called Air Depot. Pronounced Air Depot. Yeah. While the store is pronounced Home Depot. But then what do you want from people who have a town named Miami that is spelled like Miami? And we also have a town spelled El Dorado, but pronounced El Dorado. But then we have so many towns that have Indian names that you really need to be a local to know how to pronounce them. And some of them, you only pronounce correctly one letter of the whole name. Kind of like the same as with laugh and enough, you know. Because in laugh, you only pronounce the L, and in enough, you only pronounce the N. I started rambling, didn't I? Alrighty, so this will be the last one. Come on. My back is a little bit bothering. We're gonna admire these while this one cooks, and then we're gonna make a cabochon with the, okay, so If you want me to zoom in or refocus, let me know. But see how interesting they can be. And they create an illusion of movement as well, because when you do this, it's like the colors are moving a little bit. But we got Jupiter. Jupiter is like this, sorry. Jupiter is like this, and this is Venus. Okay. I'm going to grab this and some remnants here. And I have some old translucent. Actually, this is too much. I'm gonna just use this and this translucent. So these are the shavings. While that thing still cooks, I'm going to chop away. This is one of my cleaning the pasta machine translucents. But I'm telling you, if you use Cernit, it's going to be twice as beautiful. And of course, bake it and sand just a pinch. Okay, the last one is done. Oh, there we go. This is the last one. Of course, you can use it like this if you so wish. But you see the little chatoyants moving around. Okay. Now with this, we are going to make a cabochon effect. But I got this small, but I'm not going to make it into a cabochon because I want to be able to resin it so you can see the final result before doing anything else. And of course you can make beads with all these in the same style that I'm using here, but I'm going to just do it in a flat form that I can resin. Okay, I know, right? It's so awesome. Alrighty. No, it's the UV lamp. I was joking when I said cooking. It's the UV lamp for UV resin. And I'm curing them. I'm not cooking. I'm getting them cured. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing with this. I'm going to gently burnish it. And I'm going to just put some resin in the middle. Yeah, I'm going to bake them afterwards, but I discovered a while ago that the Chinese UV resin can be baked, and normally, especially when you have thinner pieces that are baked and you put the UV resin on it, it starts, because it's self-doming, it starts pulling on the edges and it warps your piece. And I discovered that if I resin before baking, because the raw clay is still stuck to the tile, it's not going to pull on it while it's curing. Cuts thinner? What do you mean, the pieces? It's up to you how thin you can go. It entirely depends on your ability. Okay, so I'm going to just put some resin right here in the middle so we can see the effect. And I know that I got some questions on why don't you use a, how come you don't use a lighter on your resin to remove the air bubbles. What I can answer to that is that I used to, and then I realized that, I don't know, it's probably the way that I move the resin around. I don't really have air bubbles. So why go through the motions when there's nothing there? Okay, while this is curing, okay, not cooking, not baking, curing in the UV lamp, I'm going to bring the stuff. Okay, so I had a little torch that I was using not for this kind of resin but for pouring resin, and I cannot find it. So I saw these online. I didn't realize, number one, how huge they were, but they were on a good price. They were like, I don't know, $7 something for the set of two. Number one, of course, they came empty. Good thing that I had a butane thing. But as I said, I'm gonna keep these. I'm going to try not to burn anything. I'm gonna keep these to burn wasps in summer, because I'm not gonna use this on resin. Okay, I need something dark underneath so you can see the flame. Oh, something dark. Where's something dark? I don't have anything dark here. This is too white, you cannot. Let me use green. This thing got all like this because it had pieces of polymer clay stuck on it, and it's vinyl. I mean, that's going to burn right through. Anyway, if you're talking about thinness, I think I showed you before. It all depends on how well you condition and how well you bake. I still have the paradise, bird of paradise petals necklace. Somewhere. Yeah, there you go. So this is made with Premo. Okay. This is made with Premo. It's a bird of paradise petals. Let me completely zoom out. And the petals themselves, they are about 0.5 millimeter thick. And I made this like, I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that. And as you can see, they are, none of them broke. So it all depends on how, and you can see they are scoured. But none of them broke or anything. You can see it's very thin here. It's as I said, about 0.5 millimeter. So I imagine that if I can do this with Premo, with Cernit, which is a more flexible and sturdier PolyClay, you should easily be able to do this. So yeah, these are all the types of petals a bird of paradise flower would have. And this is a whole necklace of them. Hey, I'm trying to set it. Oh. Alrighty. Now let's take a peek at this. Okay, and I'm going to refocus, not zoom. No, it's too close. So this is how it will look if you sand and buff it. You see, it looks like a gemstone. Fantasy gemstone. I don't remember, I did before. There's a tutorial on something done with Cernit. Let me find it. Second. Hey, Cernit, not Cernit. Why? Okay. So, won't be this one. So on Cernit, I think I only used a couple. Well, let me grab the display capture. Let's see where I find. If I show a close-up, where I show a close-up. There you go. So this, the thing in the middle is made with the same technique. I think I used 3 different Cernit metallic, and that was Connor. But yeah, go ahead and try it. Yeah, from all kinds of scraps of metallics and stuff, you can obtain all these pretties, and they are going to look fabulous. Let me turn down the light a little bit. Too bright. There we go, much better. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I promise you next Sunday we are going to finish that cane. I actually, if you go on my, let me show you, okay? If you go on my channel, let me go on my channel. If you go on my channel and you go, so this is my channel, if you go to playlists, you will find a lot of, here you can see the ones that are not public too, but let's see, I have intermediate level canes, and they are beginner, basic canes, And they are all kind of, you're gonna find easy projects, beginner style, and there's also the techniques for beginners. Actually, let me go in my own, because it doesn't show them properly to me. Okay, so fun and easy projects, and you see there's 85 tutorials here. And I know that I have a beginner techniques, intermediate, basic canes, advanced level, but there's a whole basic canes, and there's a basic techniques. Where the heck is that? Basic polymer clay techniques, and you can see there's 38 tutorials. Yeah, I am on the Skinner blend and canes, and then how to clean your pasta machine, how to sand and buff, how to condition, and how to make a bracelet cuff. All kinds of useful things for a beginner. So, okay, you have a wonderful week coming up. I'm glad that I was able to be up here for an hour and a half, so I'm just making up for last time. So I will see you all next Sunday. Don't forget to thumbs up, and please don't forget to use my Amazon influencer store to buy stuff off of Amazon. Remember, if you do it in one go, if you don't log off leaving stuff in your cart and log back in again, if you do it in one go, it's going to keep my cookies, and it's going to give me a few cents for your purchases without changing your prices. And also, please use my affiliate link for PolyClay Play. This is how I can afford to buy materials for myself, and I can afford to do the giveaways for you guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Don't forget the thumbs up. Bye.